welcome to another episode of Metra Home Theater Group Tech Tips. I am Brent McCall, and with me is
Adam Rogers. Hey guys, how's it going? Today's our CEDIA, our CEDIA episode. We're going to be talking about stuff that we're bringing to CEDIA, as well as what we are hoping and speculating will be at CEDIA for everybody. So welcome to the show. We're going to be talking, like I said, we'll be bringing up some different things about what we're bringing with us, matrices, multi-viewers, things like that. We'll get into detail about those. But in the meantime, Brent, let's do some speculation. What are we hoping for?
Absolutely. And for those of you that don't know, because I'm already in Denver,
right?
It is, as far as you know, September 10th. We are taping this in advance. So what we're about to tell you, we hope will be real. And one of the first things we hope is going to be real is a CTS for HDMI cable testing. At this point, there is no actual way for anybody to say they have an HDMI 2.1 cable because we don't know what we're testing to. Now, that involves equalization, distance, voltage, current. There's a tremendous amount of knowledge we don't have on what is expected to make a cable HDMI 2.1 certified. We are way behind the curve on this, and HDMI has not yet, as of the end of August, released that information. But we are hoping by this date, September 10th, it exists.
Yes, we are. So this is pretty standard practice anyways. If you guys remember when we went from HD to 1080p and made the jump to 4K, just likewise, there was a big change between, or there was a period of time where we didn't know. We didn't know what was going to be 4K. We didn't know how it was going to work until finally HDMI, as a corporate entity or as an entity, finally came out and let us know what it was. We're in that same ballpark. So everyone that you're seeing that's saying, you know, it's HDMI 2.1, it will be, but we just don't know, and we can't verify it.
It may not be.
The problem that we're running into.
The problem is we don't know. We can tell you bandwidth. We can tell you what we expect EQs to be based on looking at hardware and sources and displays, but we don't always know. And the testing will be different than what you see in the real world because even that's not consistent from manufacturer to manufacturer. At this point, in the end of August, there are very few actual HDMI 2.1 enabled products. Sources, displays, pretty much just displays right now. So we're expecting to see more of those at CEDIA, from hard sources, Blu-ray UHD players, to AVRs. I don't anticipate matrices. I don't anticipate any distribution devices yet because the chipsets are like hen's teeth. But we do hope to see specifications to test too.
Yeah. So the big guys out there, you know, the Sonys, the Yamahas, and whatnot, we'll probably see, well, we're already seeing 2.1 TVs. However, again, we don't have the CTS to say that, yes, it's definitely 4K, or sorry, 2.1, pardon me. But the same thing with AVRs. We're probably going to see more of those at the show where they're actually saying they're 2.1 because, again, hopefully we'll have a CTS when this airs. That's the big deal right now, is that if we don't have a CTS, we have no way of saying without a doubt that this is a 2.1 cable, this is a 2.1 source, or this is a 2.1 display.
And just to reiterate, CTS is simply the testing standard, the certified testing standard.
Correct.
That gear is tested to. It sets the parameters for the test gear, the results that are expected. Without that, it's pure guesswork. So, having said that, we do know that some of the manufacturers do have some HDMI 2.1 hardware. Sony has some displays.
Yep.
I expect, as you mentioned, Yamaha, Sound United, which is D&M, Onkyo, Integra, to present possibly a 2.1 receiver. Possibly.
Yeah.
I'm not holding my breath tremendously because the reality of it is there's no feature sets that are needed in 2.1 that you can't already get. For example, eARC works under the current 2.0 standard without a problem.
Correct. So, and the other thing also is that the bigger names, Sony, Sony in particular, because they're such a big name in the industry, they probably have a little bit more of an in with the HDMI group as a whole. So they're probably getting some more information as to, you know, what is the standard. So they may get some early information, do you think? Or do you think it's pretty even across the board?
I think it's going to be even across the board because when you look at the group, it's 100 plus individuals, 100 plus companies.
Right.
And as you know from just getting 3 people to agree on lunch.
True. True, very true.
It's going to be a last-minute argument all the way down to the line before it's released.
So you think everyone will have a pretty even access to it?
I do.
Okay.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah. So now, what about the TVs and everything that already have an HDMI 2.1?
There are maybe 4 or 5 sets that actually have 2.1 hardware built into them. There's a lot of 8K sets out there that, yes, they'll do 8K within the panel, but they're not actually an 8K input.
Gotcha.
So we are seeing, I know that Sony's 85 and the 98 actually have a true 2.1 chip in them.
Okay.
Beyond that, I don't know, because we don't have that much of an in right now with what's happening with LG, Samsung, Hisense, TCL, and the others. AVRs, from what little I have gathered, we may see some prototypes shown, but I certainly would not be holding my breath for a 2.1 chipset-enabled AVR. It's going to be a while.
Okay.
The chipsets are just, they're hen's teeth.
Yeah. Now, do you think, how about things like the control systems, Crestron, Control 4, URC? Do you think we're going to see anything?
That's an interesting one. To the best of my knowledge right now, Big Blue is the only one that's seriously doing fiber and control. And certainly the fiber can support the 8K, but as you and I know from doing a ton of research, finding the electronics to go at the end of the fiber to support 8K is a whole nother story.
Right. Right. So we probably won't see a whole lot as far as the 2.1 or anything
No,
like that.
but that is certainly no reason not to put the fiber in.
Right.
Putting the infrastructure in now puts you way ahead of that game, because now it's just a matter of waiting for the individual chipsets to catch up with the infrastructure, not the other way around.
Gotcha. So,
and that actually kind of leads us to the first
and
item on our, here's what we're doing this year and what we expect we'll see a lot of in our installation world going forward. Adam.
So, guys, first and foremost, before we get too far into it, definitely come check us out tomorrow. Like I said, we're going to be at booth 1338. I don't know if you can see it in the picture right now. We've got it back here, but when you go to the wide view, you'll be able to see it. Anyways, booth 1338, everything that we're talking about today.
So what was the booth number?
1338.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll be able to come out and take a look at everything and see what we have going on.
Touch it, feel it, and hug it.
Yep, exactly. So we've got one of the big announcements that we have for this year is fiber. So we're finally getting into the fiber game. We've got all the tools and everything for it. We've got the strippers, we've got the cutters for it, the scissors, everything else that you need to do it. And pardon me, the word for it is escaping me, the piece that actually cuts the glass. I'm failing on it now. Cleaver. Fiber cleaver, there we go.
The beaver.
So with that piece, we've got all the tools necessary to do a fiber termination for it. We've got the LC connectors, we've got the SC connectors. We're going to have OM3 fiber to start with, where it's going to come in either a simplex or a duplex, and we're going to have both the riser rating as well as plenum rating. And so on top of that, of course, we've pretty much got everything you need to make the connections from point A to point B.
And the training videos to help you get there.
Right. So definitely come check out the fiber stuff. We're going to have that there at the show. Our hope is that you guys tomorrow will be able to see somebody actually doing the terminations for you. If not, the tools and everything else will actually be on display for you guys to take a look at it and see how everything's going to work for you. But moving from the fiber, something else that we're really excited about talking about is the matrices.
Yes, it is, and it has been a desire from our dealers for many years. And we have held off because until we can do it right, as you guys know, we don't want to do it if it's not going to be right and work pretty much every time. And it took a while to find the right source, the right engineer, the right backbone, but we've got it. And we've got both HD-based T systems and standard quick switching systems without HD-based T, as well as audio breakout, IP control, serial control, and IR control.
That's right. So we're going to have a total of 4 different HDMI matrices. We're going to have 2 4x4s. The first one, of course, is going to be our quick change. That's HDMI in and HDMI out. We have a 4x4 that has 4 in and 4 HDMI in, 4 HD base T out.
Plus 4 HDMI out parallel.
Exactly, that are mirrored on that as well. And both of those should have the audio breakout on those,
if I remember
correctly.
Yes, they do.
And they also have IR.
Yes, they do, and serial and IP.
Exactly. So you'll be able to actually send IR commands from the matrix out to the devices. Pretty standard stuff for guys that have been using matrices that have been out there for it.
But wait, there's more for Control 4 dealers.
We are having we've got a driver for it.
Yes.
Pre-made. So you guys don't have to create any RS-232 drivers. You don't have to create any IR drivers. We have Control 4 drivers.
built in.
SDDP will be built into it.
We also have the Crestron drivers. So you guys that are big blue fellas, drop it right in, drop the module in, and go to work.
I believe we're also hoping to have the URC drivers for it as well.
I believe so.
And I don't remember if we're having any for who am I
RTI?
thinking of? RTI. I don't know if we have RTI or not.
I think it's coming.
Okay. So on top of that, guys, we also have the 8x8 matrices. Same setup. We've got 8 HDMI inputs. We've got 8 HDMI outputs on the quick change. We also have 8 HDMI inputs and 8 HD-Base-T outputs with mirrored HDMI outputs on the other one, which those have scaling.
Yes, they do, for the HD-Base-T, because sometimes you need it.
Exactly. So you'll be able to scale down from 4K on the HD-Base-T, as well as the possibility of scaling up on the HDMI, which is kind of interesting. It opens up some avenues for playing around with the different layouts for systems.
There's also some interesting audio functions. With the audio on it, you can track input or you can track output. During the setup, you decide, is the audio out 1 through 8 going to, or 1 through 4, going to stay on a specific input forever, or track the output of a specific zone.
Right.
All that's in the setup. So once it's done, your customer can't go in there and change it and make your life miserable.
Right. One little tip for the when you're doing the audio matrixing on the audio matrices on Control 4 specifically, just to help you guys out a little bit, have it track the input, and then through your Control 4 programming, just tell it to go straight from the source device to your audio matrix as well. Makes life so much easier, and you get a nice, clean design inside your project. So.
It's also digital and analog outs on all those audio breakouts.
And so, this is really cool. The audio breakouts, we do have the analog and digital. It is a digital coax, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it is.
But on the HD-Base-T receiver, we have audio breakout.
Yes, we do.
It's only the analog audio breakout at that point, but it makes for a really cool, again, it's another tool in your tool bag when you're designing your systems. You're able to go in there and say, I want audio broken out at the receiver, at the TV. So let's say you've got a sound bar or something else that you need to get audio to at that location. Pardon me, you can go ahead and just get the audio broken out there, send it directly to the sound bar without having to do any kind of weird running extra wires or anything else like that. So if you do have a situation where you have just the one category wire, you're okay. You've got the connection there for it. So
which is nice because you can run audio without the TV being on.
Right, exactly. So you get some really nice audio setups for that. So
now the HD-Base-T receiving units are a la carte. They do not come in the matrix boxes because we don't know how many you're going to need.
Right. That's why we did the mirrored HDMI connections on it, because you might have some local. We are running a lot. We've seen a lot of guys run the HDMI fiber or fiber HDMI, the AOC cables, and a lot of them are running that for the shorter distances or even some of the longer distances while having HD-Base-T for areas like outside. Well, you don't really want to put HD-Base-T outside, but for different areas where you don't have the ability to run HDMI.
Or that's all the wire that was here and you can't retro it.
Exactly. So we do have that as some thought process behind it. So that way you can kind of pick and choose, do I need 8 HD-Base-T extenders, or do I just need 6, or do I need 5 or 1, or however that plays out. So
and still
really
need
great
scaling.
pieces.
So, and by the way, since we mentioned scaling,
Yeah.
tell them about the new splitters.
So these new splitters are great. I don't have any model numbers with me right now, guys, but we have a splitter scaler. We have a 1x2 and we have a 1x4. The really nice thing about this is you can take a 4K source,
HDR,
do HDR, and it will scale independently on each one of the outputs. So if you have 4 different TVs, let's say you've got a 720p TV, you got a 1080p TV, 1080i TV, and a 4K TV, it's going to scale to each one of those on your outputs directly. So everything's going to work when you take a look at it.
1080i TV? A 1080i TV?
As far as, yeah. Oh, well, you remember that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
but that would be a tube or Hitachi plasma. That would be it.
Yeah. So those are definitely things that we were really excited about with those. Definitely come check them out. They will be on display tomorrow. Again, get some hands on it.
And you will see a source being sent to 4K HDR, 1080p, and 720 simultaneously on that unit.
That's correct.
Which leads us to the next piece.
Which one you got?
The multi-viewer.
So this next piece is really great as well. So in certain situations, you want to have the ability to do 4 or 3 or 2 different displays on one TV, especially if you're in some kind of man cave or if you're at you're doing a job for a bar and you want to have a big projector setup, but you want to have different displays on it. We now have a 4x1 multi-viewer onto one display. So it's a really cool setup. It's 4K 30, and so what you're able to do is have all your inputs into that. You go up to the TV, you have it go one HDMI output to the display, and then from there you have all of your images on one display. You have selection on it to where you can do in the 4 quadrants. You also have the ability to have one main display with 3 next to it. You can have a 1x1 top and bottom.
You can move the audio around.
You can move the audio around 1x1 side by side. The audio is really cool because you can have one input take up the full screen, and you can have the audio from another input. We were playing around with it the other day. We had a ball game on the TV, but we didn't want to listen to the ball game. We wanted to play some music, and so we had a Chromecast set up, and so we had the audio of the Chromecast.
This is
and the
also
video
really
of the,
good for
of the
bars
TV.
where they might have a gaming system, where the guys do the trivia things in
Right.
the bars,
Right.
but they don't want to. There's no audio with those.
Correct.
So you throw some music on it or the ball game, and you rock on.
Yep, and there's also a mode in it for like a little picture-in-picture. So you'll be able to actually have the main screen up, and then in the bottom corner, you'll be able to see where there's a little picture-in-picture of whatever you choose. So it kind of gives you a nice little setup for doing, again, it's really designed, and the idea behind it is for a bar setup, or if you have somebody who has a man cave setup, or just a video room that they have a large projection screen on. It works really, really well for that.
It's also really good for nanny cams and other video surveillance devices, so you can keep an eye.
Exactly, you
on
can
things.
keep watching the game and put the other thing down at the
Yep.
bottom. One of the things that we also were playing around with yesterday, I don't know if you were here for it or not, we took one of the matrices that we were testing and whatnot. We did the 8x8 matrix, put a bunch of inputs into it. We took 4 of the outputs of the matrix, went into the multi-viewer, but then the other 4 outputs, we went to all the other TVs. Then what we had at that point was a multi-viewer that could take any of the 8 inputs that we had going into the matrix and put it up on the multi-viewer for like a 5th TV. So let's say you've got eight TV zones in a house. 4 of the TVs can have whatever display, whatever content they want. But if you have a main TV that's going to be showing your, for the video, for like the theater room or video room, you can have the multi-viewer set up in there to do the multi-view, or independently, you can have any source
That's
on
awesome.
there as well. It's a really cool setup. So come check it out. It's going to be on display. You guys will get some hands-on with it. It's going to be functioning as well as
Yes,
our
it is.
primary unit in the middle of our
With a
setup.
very nice 75-inch TV provided by Sony. Thank you, Sony.
Thank you very much. So from there, we kind of mentioned it a little bit, but we've got the ABO3. As far as I understand, I believe it's already moving now, right? Even
Yes.
at the time of this recording, the ABO3, I think we're already selling through it. I'm trying to remember if I have one back here or not. I don't think I do. But the ABO3, guys, a lot of people, you might remember the ABO2, we had some issues. One of the biggest being the fact that the HDMI audio did not pass through the HDMI. It was strictly a breakout. So it would extract the audio off the HDMI and only
But
send
it
the
was
video
full
out.
4K HDR.
That's correct. And so the reason that we had that one, we needed something to do 4K HDR, but
Now-
we didn't have the processing power in order to do the audio continued on as well as being broken out, but now we do. So we do have the ability to, with the ABO3, the HDM ABO3.
To break it out and pass it on simultaneously.
That's right. So definitely check that out. We're going to have it at the show. That's
It is
one
a
of the new
very
things.
popular product, particularly with Apple TVs and Roku's. And anything's Pandora's or Spotify based.
Right, and one of the biggest problems that we have with the streaming devices is the fact that they no longer have audio outputs on them, which, as you guys know out in the field, is really frustrating when they've switched everything over. You go and order your Roku Ultra, and all of a sudden you get it in planning to use the audio out, and lo and behold,
It's gone.
It's not there. But we got to fix for it, so we've got the ABO3.
Now, we also have a new Bluetooth audio receiver. This is a great little piece that I believe it's under the Helios brand.
It is.
But it gives you guys the ability to get audio in places that you might otherwise not get it with Bluetooth.
Yep, so it's just a very straightforward Bluetooth audio device. Very simply, it's got a 3.5 millimeter jack on it to give you stereo audio. Pair a Bluetooth player of some sort, whether it be somebody's phone, a laptop, something like that. Really straightforward, just gets you Bluetooth audio out to some kind of amplifier of some sort. So that one's really straightforward. And then finally, we did a full episode on this.
Last episode.
Well, this would actually be
Well,
two episodes
ago.
Now for that, it was the AIO2. This is the HDM AIO2. It's not back here. They borrowed it. So the AIO2 is, as
display.
you guys know, it's on display. Check it out. This is
Shipping?
It's shipping now, right?
It's real,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
It's
So-
actually shipping the end of August.
Yes. So guys, with the AIO2,
as we were speaking.
Yes. With the AIO2, again, this is our all-in-one HDMI repair tool. So you guys will be able to get all of your fixes, most of your fixes for the HDMI setup. Issues with hot plug resets, issues with the EDID,
Voltage,
voltage
current,
issues. Yep.
delay time, capacitive stripping. It's all built into this one box, makes your life simple. Have a couple on your truck. It will absolutely save your hiney.
And the reason it's called the AIO?
It stands for all-in-one.
Because it has
everything we've learned about EDID, voltage, current, and trigger control all in one box.
That's right. So, guys, definitely come check us out at the show. Again, we're going to be at booth 1338. Was there anything else that we should
I would like to say, and at the end of this video, what you should see, hopefully, is a headshot of all of our sales guys and their territories and their names.
Right.
Stop by. If you haven't already met them, meet your salesperson, talk to them. And if you don't know about it, go to integrationpros.org. Their party is Thursday night. It's a great resource for integrators, dealers to learn about products, to talk about issues in the field. Integrationpros.org. Check it out. And I think that's it, young man. Adam?
I think so. I won't see you guys at the show, but you, of course, Brent will be there.
Denver does not allow it.
So Brent's going to be there. Of course, you'll see Stuart as well. The sales staff are going to be there as well. I think only one or two of them are staying behind to
Somebody
watch
has
the
to
phones.
hold down the fort.
Yep, exactly. So, but definitely come check us out, see our booth, and get some hands-on with the new equipment.
One more thing.
Yep.
We will be there with the videographer this year, so if you have any great success stories using any of our products, AIOs, GA1s, GA2s, or our cables, please stop by, talk to myself or one of your sales staffs. Let us get a recording of your experience.
Yeah.
We want to share it with the other dealers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So definitely stop by. Bring your success stories. Bring your stories of what's going on. We'll have the videographer there talking about some different things. So
success stories involves custom installation, not your previous night dinner.
Yeah. So guys, thanks for watching. I'm Adam Rogers.
I'm Brent McCall. See you at CEDIA.
We'll see you there.